Everybody, as you can see, we've got some old food on the menu tonight. The classic MCI, or also referred to from the guys that served as the C ration, and also kind of just in the community, it has taken on that name, even though this is really the end of the C ration. These were, there were, technically these aren't C rations. They ended in 1958, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. Let's let some folks get up in here. If anybody's going to actually get the notification for this, which probably they won't. You know, YouTube, I think YouTube hates me. I mean, that's just my feeling I get from the non-existent people that I talk to. YouTube, I'm beginning to think that my best outlet would be to move on to a different platform and actually start making real content again. Not that I won't post it here, because I'll post that same content here. Really, I got a bear in my background all the time. Anyway, hey Gabe, what's up, dude? All right, he showed up. All right, let me flip this around. Yeah, well, they do the same thing to me, dude. Probably not on the same level as they have to you, but pretty close. I used to not be buried as bad as you, but in recent times, they have really kicked me in the nuts. So, and like I don't have real food. I will eat what I can of this, which I don't know what that'll be. This is really heavy. Like it seems to be full, but I mean, I don't know if that's leakage from the one next to it. That is, I'm pretty sure. But the reason that I pulled this one is because it feels wet. And I don't think it's a good idea to leave this in the case because literally it feels wet. Now, when I went through this case, it took me forever to dig this out. It was literally clear in the back and clear at the bottom. I don't know how I done that or why I done that, but I did. I thought I had taken one of these out. I went through every single ration. I dug all 12 of them out of the case, opened them up to make sure to look and see what, it had. I thought I had taken one out, and I thought I pulled a pack of smokes and everything out of there. I guess I didn't. I don't remember where the camels came from. I thought I pulled one out of here that contained a pack of camels. But if I did, maybe I overlooked it. Maybe I replaced the accessory packet. Maybe that's the only thing I took out of that. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look at my own live stream or whatever from back then and see what I did. But I had it in my head that I took out a ration out of that 1971 case. But when I went through it, like I said, it was completely full. All of the can openers were all still there. All 12 meals that I opened up seemed to still be all full. So I don't know. Some of them were really light. Those are the ones I checked thinking that that was one I took. But no, they all still had the accessory packets in them. And, I don't know what I did with that accessory packet with the camels in it. I have no clue. I've been looking for that thing for a while now, and I can't find it. So I'll come across it at some point when I go through my entire collection, because that's something that I've got to do anyway. Since Gabe is here, and I picked these out, I wasn't even going to bring them out unless Gabe happened to show up, and I texted him right before I started this live stream, but I didn't know if he'd have time to stop by or not. I have these two beers. I'm pretty sure this one is on the newer side. Obviously, it does have the barcode on it, and this is just a 10 on the bottom of this, so my fingers look greasy, but I think it's the bottle, or it's probably both. I mean, I've washed my hands numerous times after digging this stuff out. My hands were funky. And in this, which has got the dome bottom, but it does have the pull tab on the top, and it does, even though it looks like it's been leaking, it still feels like it's sealed. I mean, it looks like it's been beat up pretty good over the years, or it's been, not beat up, but handled quite a bit and moved around quite a bit. And it also has a barcode. So we're looking at the oldest, late 70s, I would say, and at the youngest, well, this definitely could be late 70s, early 80s. As far as the bottle goes, it's really hard to tell on a bottle unless you got something on there indicating some time period. Sometimes you can tell by the Surgeon General warnings on them, and look that up and see. There's 2 Surgeon General warnings on this bottle. There's also a P.O. box on here with a zip code, which is also another date indicator of after a certain date. Zip codes were, oh man, I can't remember when the zip codes came in. Anyway, I've got a good bit to talk about when it comes to the MCI, or Meal Combat Individual. And I've talked to a lot of guys that ate these things. They're mixed reviews, pretty much just the same way you get with MREs. Some guys love them, some guys hate them. Some guys were grateful to have them, and you know, these were shelf stable, just like an MRE. It had to be able to be eaten hot or cold, you know, in case you didn't have a way to heat it up. So you wouldn't want to be in that situation. I can promise you that. You would not have to want to eat this cold, because I imagine that there's congealed fats and some weird mouth feels that would come along with that. But anyways, Gabe, what would you recommend? I'll bet this is probably going to be pretty decent as far as, well, everything goes on that one. This one, I don't know. I for some reason, I feel like this one's probably pretty good, too. I mean, this is a very, very old established brand, obviously. Product of Holland. And it's an 11.6 fluid ounce can, which is, you know, that's odd in itself. 33 cents. What would the CL stand for? Something liter. MCI pork steak B3 unit. B3, dark beer doesn't hold up in my experience, so I would guess the bottle would be worse. Really? Huh. Even with that really dark glass, I mean, look how, I was looking at this earlier, and that glass, I mean, it is brown, but it is to the point where it's almost, you can see through it, barely. I had another bottle in there I was looking at. I think it was a stout, and I thought that it was a black bottle. I didn't think I could see through it at all until I put it right up next to a light bulb, and I could just barely see something in it. So that glass more or less is black. This is just a super dark brown bottle. I think that's good for the longevity of it. So this being a honey ale, I thought that Devil's Mountain label was pretty cool. I like the train. Devil Mountain, not Devils. Devil Mountain Black Honey Ale. They got a BH on there. So I'm going to guess that this is probably 90s. If I was, you know, if I was a betting man. Yeah, I mean, it could be early 2000s even. I don't think that barcode's going to give us much. Oh, we got some stamps on the bottom of the bottle here. Oh, uh-oh. We got some printing right here. 190896164. Huh. I don't know. Let's see if we got any floaties up in here that I can see. This is very dark. Very dark. No light. I can't get any light to pass through from the actual liquid from one side to the other, which tells me that liquid is, well, I guess I can barely just at the top where the liquid is a little less. When you turn it sideways like that, at that angle, you can just get a hue of light coming through there. But that is going to be some super dark stuff. And it does appear to have some floaty bits in it. Salty Croc Collectible sent me it's a very old Pepsi. It's a steel can. It has a pull tab on top. And whenever I was moving stuff around and looking at stuff, I discovered it, and it had actually popped right here and was leaking. And man, I'm super disappointed about that, because that was the oldest Pepsi I have, and I was looking forward to trying it out, which it was already, I think, a little bit compromised, but it got worse because, well, the way I had it stored was in the box, laying over like this, so it leaked. Instead of having it upright like this is the way I store most of my cans and bottles, is upright if I can. Hey, LC made it. How about that? I had him up here before I started. And I moved him and didn't put him back. Moved him to take pictures, and then I didn't put him back. Yep. So Brunswick stew, that's something else that I don't know anything about. So I think Gabe might have made a suggestion. He said he'd guess 90s. Okay, cool. I still have that beer with the... Oh, yeah, the pepper in it. Oh. Have you tried one yet? Did you drink the one that you have? The heavy flavors become really gross. Oh, the dark ones do. But, I mean, they almost become like a syrup, kind of. They get really thick. And just the way my palate reads it, somebody else who's used to that or enjoys that might read it differently, but that's the way it seems like to me. And I'm not a huge fan of gelatinous liquids or thick liquids that I need to consume. So dark beer doesn't hold up. Oh yeah, okay, so I'm back to where you was at. I did watch some of Germ's video earlier today, an MCI video that he had, because I was just watching some MCI videos since that's what I was doing. All right. Oh, you haven't tried the habanero one yet? Okay. All right. Well, let me know. Let me know what that's like, because, dude, that could end up being, like, super hot. And when you try to drink super hot stuff, there's people out there that can do it. I've seen them do it, but it's not something that is really on my list of things that I want to do. So, hang on, I'll be right back. I gotta go try to clear up my nose. All right, a couple minutes, I should start sounding normal again. Well, it'll be a bad time. I guess it was in a room in California for at least a decade. Yeah, see, that's what, like, where that's set in the heat like that, I just know what peppers do over time from my experience with Tabasco, because the Tabasco pepper gets hotter with time. Even with the vinegar in it, which you would think would neutralize things, in my experience, I guess maybe it could be a concentration thing too. I think maybe some evaporation happens, and then that concentrates the heat and the pepper more. But I'm going to guess that most peppers that are preserved in, especially in liquid, that liquid or whatever will get hotter with time. So I did make a request, and I don't know of anybody. Actually, I've been thinking back, and I can't remember a time that I ever came across a 1972 MCI. There's might have been a couple times I've seen cans from 1972. I'm not 100% sure that I've even seen that, but I can't remember a time that I've ever seen an actual case or a full ration from 1972. I'd really like to confirm 100% that 1972 MCIs still contained cigarettes. I'm pretty sure they did. But I'm only going on what's written and what's been written in it. There could be a half year there that did not come with smokes. 1973, we're sure they were gone. 1973, they did not exist in the MCI. They didn't throw in leftovers or anything like that from everything that I've seen, everything that I can read. But 1972 is when it's claimed that they were discontinued in the daily rations. So that means that it could be a partial year, or 1972 may not contain cigarettes. I don't think anybody that I know can confirm that 100%. Man, I'm trying to think where I could have swore I seen a 1972 can, and if that person had the rest of that ration, then really? Well, you're gonna have to send me pictures of that, because I've got to, especially if you can get whoever you got that from to show you the case that it came out of, so we can see a date when that case was packed, because that's gonna, I'm going to start trying to establish different months of that year if I can find them. It's in the description. It's Oldsmokey1969 at gmail.com. But I'm going to try to accumulate as much data on that as I can, because I have a feeling, I don't know why, but I have a feeling that smokes disappeared before the end of 1972, before the end of that year. I would bet that those end of the year cases probably didn't have them. Why would I say that? Because it was going to save the government money. I have a feeling that if they were saving, I don't know, let's say they had 8 cents a pack in those, if that. Which, I mean, those were the samples that salesmen, those were salesman samples that they would give away, that salesmen would give away. What's up, Bo? Okay, so oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I always ask those people if they have any history at all on eBay of how it was stored, where it came from, any of the backstory. That's something I've gotten into the habit of doing. But a lot of times they'll be like, I don't know, I picked it up at a yard sale, or it'll be a non-existent story usually. Not always. Sometimes, man, I've gotten some amazing backstories from eBay, from buying off people from eBay. One time, one of the best It's probably the best MCI score, accessory packet MCI score ever. Let's see. I got, how many packs was it? I want to say I got 350 or 400 accessory packets. It was a lot. It was a lot, and but this was back in like 2016, probably, maybe early 2017, and we bought them all, every single one of them. The poorly stored vintage MRE cases. Yeah, dude, I'll gladly pay the shipping for those if you want to send them. Um, there's probably not a whole lot in them that's going to be any count because I know where you got them stored or where they've been stored, and being that they're from the 80s, I mean, I think they're 80s, right? I think we established, or maybe they were 91 or 92s. Those things are probably pretty roached, but I find that I like, that's the type of stuff that we want to look at, and we want to see how it breaks down, how it holds up, what happens to it, certain stuff like that. When you're talking about the MCIs, there are, I'm going to guess there are probably some out there that are still maybe triable. I wouldn't say fully consumable, but there could be, maybe up in Alaska, or maybe one of those northern North Dakota, if they've been in a bomb shelter and they've stayed at 60 degrees or below, and they weren't sitting next to something that exploded. There might be something out there, but I'm going to tell you it'll taste metallic because it just, after so long, it absorbs the can. The can breaks down. It's going to have that flavor, but it still might be food. Barely. Just, time is your biggest enemy when it comes to food. It's going to lose nutritional value over time unless it's freeze dried. That's the only thing I know, and even freeze dried, it slowly, very slowly, loses a little bit of its nutritional value. But as far as like something that's shelf stable, you're going to lose, what is it? I want to say it's like 20% after the first year, and then it slows down a little bit, I think, after that, and then once you hit around that 3-year mark, it starts losing more rapidly. There's plenty of data out there and research on shelf stable food thanks to the military and thanks to Natick. Natick has done a lot with that, and actually, well, they haven't done it on shelf stable, but they've done it on freeze dried stuff. Is Mountain House. Mountain House has done a lot of research. They've done a lot of valuable research, and they confirm now that their food, what, I think their shelf life is 50 years now. Salty Croc Collectibles sent me that very vintage, like, camping meal. It's really cool, and it's for a whole family. Like, it'll feed a whole family. Really neat. Or I guess, yeah, it would have to be. It had to be just for multiple people because you couldn't save it and heat it up. Anyway, he had no idea it was that old. He didn't think it was that old. I think it was from '76. Seth Bopp sent me, he sent me a PDF link about that. But like I said, Mountain House got all kinds of cool research, and if you go down that rabbit hole, you can find out a lot of stuff about all the research they've done on their freeze-dried food. Yeah, I can't complain. I can't complain. I don't know. Maybe somebody just decided they wanted that entree, but they didn't want the other stuff on the side. Swapped it out from a different box or something. I don't know how that would even happen or why they would have done that. But it's interesting to think about whenever you see stuff like that. You're like, why? Or maybe it was a factory mistake. Maybe they actually packed the wrong meal in there. I bet quality control wasn't back then what it would be now, which a lot of it's roboticized. So, all right. Gabe, which one? The dark one or the, I'm going to assume probably not dark. Imported. Oh, it's a lager. It's a lager, so it's going to be a little dark too, if not dark, dark. There we go. Might not need it. This one? The bottle then. Bottle it is. Now, I wonder if that's a twist top. I don't think it is. Pretty sure it isn't. I'm going to try to twist it off. Yeah, nope. Nope. And it's pretty warm, too, actually. I mean, it's not chilled in the slightest. All right, here we go. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that it's finally sealed. Yep. It's definitely got a hiss on that. Oh, wow. I wonder if that's not supposed to be that dark. That has a very hoppy, kind of a green scent to it, but it's not nowhere near as strong smelling as I thought it would be. I really thought that this would have a very strong scent to it. It's really light as far as the scent goes. You know what? Let me get a little cup here. Let's see what it looks like. Because I have a feeling it's super, super dark. But I could be wrong. Let me go get a small glass. Alright. I haven't had a glass out like this in a long time. Oh, holy wow. That is dark. Look, you can't even see my finger underneath there. You can on that thin side up at the top. But, I mean, there's just a little tiny bit in there. That stuff is dark. Alright, I'll drink that at the end. Alright. Hey, what's going on, Fernbark? So, this is probably like early to mid 90s, I'm going to guess. So this would be, what, roughly, let's just call it roughly 30 years old. And it's dark. Hoppy. Pretty light on the scent. And I'm not looking forward to this because I'm not a fan of dark. Woo, you did. I've had this for I've had this in my hands for probably at least a couple years. This actually, as a matter of fact, I know exactly when I got this. I got that you gave this to me on the 4th of July, 2021. So not quite 2 years yet, but we're coming up on almost 2 years. Because I was on my way back from the from the wedding, and I broke down. My fuel pump went out, and that's where this came from. And ended up we broke a nude beer. I remember that. I remember the bottle being in pieces and like the label kind of holding it together. Yeah, dude, I got you've missed it. Me and you got to catch up because I've got a pretty interesting story to tell you. It's super interesting, actually, kind of life changing. But here we go. Cheers, down the hatch. I don't know why this is I don't want to do this. All right, here we go. Oh, that's some. It does not have any of its original bubbliness left. It's flat. There might be a little tiny bit, but it's bitter. It's really bitter and strong. I would say extremely strong. I think I have no, I've got a Miller. Old Miller liked it. Gabe gave me as well. It's an orange one. It's got an all orange label, and it's 1976. I think it is. I think it's a bicentennial. It would be bicentennial. I didn't get much of that down. Usually I can knock out half a bottle. There is, you can't see it, I'm sure, but there's like a little bit of the head sticking to the side of the bottle. Bubbles. So it must have a little bit of that left. But man, it's like, I don't know, almost like it dries your mouth out immediately. I tried. Usually I do chug it. Oh, you got some really... Dude, that's awesome. Off of beer bottles? Paper labels off of beer bottles, obviously. All right. Oh, that's bad. Ooh. It's very citrusy. But, it hit my stomach. Like, I could feel it go boom. Every time I would take a chug of it, I could feel it just kind of like hitting and settling in my stomach. Oh, God. Yeah, that one's going to stick with me for a minute. And it does have chunks in it that are stuck in my mouth. Well, let me see if I can show you this. Because it does have... I don't know if you can see it, but do you see the bubbles on the bottom? Yeah, you can see them. So it does... excuse me. It did still have a little of that carbonation, I guess you'd call it. It's not carbonation with beer. It's something else. Whew. I feel like I just drank a 40. It feels like a lot of liquid, but even though it wasn't, I mean, it's only a 12-ounce bottle. I noticed something else today. I want to ask you about, Gabe, since you're in here. I was looking at those nude beers that you gave me, and the tall ones are 12 ounces, and there's some that are significantly smaller. Like they're, I don't know, about that much shorter. They really don't taper more. They're the same circumference on the bottom to bottom. I held them together, and they say 12 ounces on them as well. Like, I am almost certain that has to be wrong because the bottles are so much smaller. They're a slightly different shape, but there's no way that they're 12 ounces. They say 12 ounces on them, and I think I have one empty one and one full one, and they both say 12 ounces, and they're different too. They're not like they didn't come out of the same. Like, they're slightly different. So the labels are different. They're the same manufacturer, but they're different. Oh. Oh. Good Lord. Well, yeah, I better set it over here. Well, that's empty. Yeah, they were a gimmicky thing. I'm pretty sure they were the ones I looked at, the bottoms of, they were 1982, which is like, if you look, like the labels, they look like they're from 1982. The ones with the exposed ladies on them are the ones that I'm speaking of, are the smaller bottles. And then the other ones that have the peel to reveal thing on them are those are the bigger ones. And I didn't check for a year on them, but I'm sure they're early 80s too, because there's no way they did that for very long. That had to be a pretty short-lived type thing. I should check into that a little more. A Miller stubby bottle. I've got a regular 12 fluid ounce Miller bottle. It's just, I think it just says Miller. It's not Miller. No, maybe it is Miller Lite. I think it just says Miller on it, though. It's orange. I can't remember if it says Miller or Miller Lite on it. I can't remember. I think that could be a video all in itself. There's tons of history on Miller. Let's talk about some MCI. Information / history / stuff. So a lot of guys, like I mentioned in the very beginning, which a lot of you guys probably weren't here, a lot of people do refer to these as C rations. This is just a civilian pack. This is what I'm talking about. So a lot of the guys that did serve, I mean, they still called them C rations because, I think, it carried on over from the era before, pre-1958, 1957 and prior, which would have been your ration combat individual, and then before that would have been your legitimate, what would have been C rations. And the cases still had a giant C on top of them. I don't really know exactly what the origins of that C is, but the cases all have giant C's on them. So they continued to call them C rations, even though really they had moved on to this being the meal combat individual. Prior to that was the RCI, ration combat individual, also referred to as a C ration. And then World War II era up to Vietnam era, well, up to 1950? Nope, wouldn't have been 50. It would have been 49. The original C ration ran from like 40, I want to say 45 to 49. 1950, I do believe. I know for sure 1951, the Ration Combat Individual was in the works or being used. 1951 is when the accessory packets were cans, accessory cans, which I can grab. I think I can. Nope, I ain't gonna be able to get it out of there. Yeah, maybe I can't. Nope, I can't. Dang it. All right. Well, anyway, let me. I can't see the date on mine up there. You need to get up, cat. Loose goose. She's really growing into a different looking cat than she used to be. I'd say she's got pretty colors. Anyway, 1958, 59, they started with the Meal Combat Individual. 1,200 calories minimum per meal. So 3 of these per day is what they were supposed to allocate for each soldier, which would have been 3,600 calories minimum. And up to, I'm going to say roughly around 4,000 calories, depending on what meals you ended up getting. I mean, the minimum you could get would have been 3,600. There were obviously some menu changes throughout. It was 1960. It was either 1967 or 1968. No, 67 for sure. It might have been 1968. They did away with the tall B unit cans, which were B3s, I believe, which would have been. This would have had a tall B unit had it been older. This is a 1971. This is the case I took it out of was, I think, June of 71. So this is 11 years older than me, this particular meal. And it does feel like it weighs just about what it properly should weigh. I mean, I'm just going to throw out a guess here and say it's probably, I don't know, 2 to 2.25 pounds. Let's see. So it says that these are supposed to weigh 1.63 pounds. This definitely weighs more than 1.63 pounds. I mean, I don't have a doubt in my mind. This thing is heavy. It's heavier than 1.5 pounds. I feel like it's probably closer to the 2 pound. I feel like there's probably some that were a little lighter, some that were a little heavier. This is the ham sliced and cooked with the B3A unit of the Meal Combat Individual variety. And I feel like if there was a meal that was going to hold up, it would probably be the ham slice. I think the ham slice, as far as all the meals go, in my experience, the ham slice has held up tremendously. I've actually never had a bad one. Never had a bad ham slice that I can remember. The ham slices just seem to do really well in their shelf-stable packaging. I've even had some that were heat-stressed. I know for a fact they were heat-stressed because one of them that I had, a guy stored in the back of his truck for at least 5 years. Now, think about how hot it gets in a vehicle in the summertime. I mean, you're talking 130, 140 degrees, enough to cook something. So this ration got hot enough to cook every day through the summer. So let's call it, it hit probably 80 days. Let's say 80 days of temperatures where it could have potentially been cooked, something cooked in it, in the vehicle. I opened that ham slice fully prepared to throw it away. I thought, there's no way this thing's going to be any good. Because it spent, I know for a fact, 4 or 5 years in this truck. And I ate every single bite of that ham slice. It was absolutely perfect. Nothing at all wrong with it. And I finished it. I don't know how that's possible. I don't understand. I mean, there's a lot of salt involved there. And I know bacon and ham and things like that are kind of inherently just they kind of are perfect meats for long-term food storage. When it comes to all the meats that I can think of, that's probably the best. Bacon's the best, and which obviously that's pork, and then you got like a little thicker bacon, which is ham. So I guess they didn't start developing the quote unquote C ration. They started development on it in 1938. And somewhere between 1941 and 1945, that was completed. And they did use the C ration extensively, a lot, during World War II. I mean, that's where it became famous. Was, you know, that our best generation, right? Like, let's not beat around the bush. Those guys were awesome. And each ration, you had a B unit. You had a, back then it was a meat unit or a main, you know, your main. You had the accessory packet, and usually a snack or side in the meal combat individual. Now, you go back to the C ration, those were 24-hour rations, so you were having 3 B units, 3 main units, meat units, full pack of smokes in there, and let's see, what else? I can't think of right off the top of my head. Let's take a look at this one. So there's some staining in the box right there, but that could be, again, from bleed over. This right here, this stain, this is the one that is probably coming out of this actual, you know, from something inside this box. And there it is. Nice dusty. That could be mold, you know, rust. I don't really see no mildew. Definitely got some funk on it right there. That looks like some sort of jam because it's like crystallized, looks like sugar. Judging by the color, I would guess pineapple. Just judging by the color. If it was grape or blackberry or something, it would be darker than that. And I guess it could be peach. Peach or pineapple. I'm going to guess peach or pineapple. And I'm going to guess we have a jam in here. I don't see any holes or anything in this. I mean, not that I can see. Well, that looks really dark, though. I think I should probably go wipe this off real quick. Uh-oh. Is that a bug carcass? Sure looks like one, or a few. Yep. Yep, those are weevils. Weevil carcasses. Nice, nice, nice. And, oh, nope, that's just a tear notch. I was going to say, I thought they ate through it right there, but they did not. So we got a solid-looking accessory packet here with, you know, a pretty... It's definitely not the 100s. So this is what looks to be a pretty normal size pack of smokes. I'd like to see Pall Malls. I haven't seen them in a long time. And we got our spoon here. That's nice and dusty. I don't know if you can see the dust flying off of it. Well, rusty, dusty. And we have, oh, look at that. I was right. Look at that. Pineapple. Look at that bug carcass. Look at it. Stuck in the jam right there. Let me see if I can zoom in on that for you guys. Yeah, buddy. That thing was once alive. Might have died from eating that jam. It probably got stuck in the jam. Ah, poor bug. Poor old bug. Carcass. And we have our B3A unit. Some more pineapple jam there. It's unfortunate because you don't find very many of these pineapple jams that are still consumable. And this one, I'm going to assume is leaked out. I mean, I assume that's what that is. I mean, I don't right off the bat see. Oh, I mean, maybe right there. Yeah, I don't see a hole there. Huh. I don't know. I mean, there's still something in it. That's for sure. I mean, it doesn't feel like this much has leaked out, which is kind of weird because that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of leakage. Jam, I guess. I mean, if I was to guess, I would say this thing feels about 60 to 75% full still. But I can't get it to move. We will open it and look at it. Why not? Why not? What else is in here? This has been finally protected, whatever it is. Well, it's sitting in some jam down there. Oh, this is the ham slice. Ham slice cooked with juices. Look at that. That might actually... feels pretty dry. Sounds pretty dry. Maybe it's supposed to be. I mean, I wouldn't say it feels dry. I would say it feels not as moist as it should. That's a better description. What else do we have in here? Oh! Oh, man, look at them bug carcasses. Look at that. Well, that tells me that that package right there is probably going to be eaten up. What is this? Nice. Look at that can. Wow. That thing, and it's got a dent in the side, but... Jeez, I just dented it more. But this thing is not compromised. I don't see any leakage from this at all. And it sounds... I mean, it sounds perfect. Man, that's some dents, though. Look at them dents. Huh. Well, shoot. And we also have... I don't know if I can get that out of there without completely ripping it open. There we go. Huh. Oh, yep, nope, they got it. Dang it. Only one hole in this thing. And look, there's the culprit. He's still there. Look at that. Man, that stuff looks... It looks right. Oh, it smells really, really old. It smells like a basement. That dust. That's unfortunate. Because I would have loved to have had me a cocoa beverage powder from 1971. That would have been awesome. I mean, other than that corner right there, this thing's not in that bad a shape. Oh, I mean, that and the hole. Which I must have dropped him somewhere. He fell off. Yeah, they didn't eat through the backside of it at all. Look at that. That's one stinking hole. And if he hadn't got it right there, this might have still been good. I mean, it's very possible. Now, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the manufacturer of this case was Sapaco. I could be wrong. I'm going to just leave that in there because it's just going to leak. It looks like that's mainly what our dust is, too, is the cocoa beverage powder. It's not rust. There's nothing even rusted in here. The B3 unit's good. The jam is obviously the only thing in here that leaked. And that doesn't even look like rust on there. That just looks like jam to me. I am going to go in there and rinse it off really quick so we can take a look a little closer. And I'll clean that accessory packet corner off just a little bit, just because, I mean, that's nasty. That's nasty. All right, let's take a look inside of this thing. Now, this is a civilian version, 1979/80. It says 79 on the case. You got an accessory packet, obviously made by Spacco. And you got your spoon, which is different, slightly, than the old MCI spoon. We've got a very pristine looking peanut butter. We've got just a B unit with crackers and candy from November, excuse me, November of 1979. We have our Brunswick stew. Dang. Seen better days. And we have a pound cake that looks like it's still sealed. Yeah, that seam looks rough. Rough. And that's some rust right there, but I think it just got the corner. I don't think it got into the can. I mean, it could have. Definitely could have compromised the can. If it compromised the can, that thing will be toast. And the Brunswick stew is, you know, it's just going to stay in there because, well, it's empty, more or less. All right. There's that one. All right, I'm going to go wash this stuff off real quick. And I'll be right back. All right. So I've got to say, this is probably, what the heck? Where did that come from? There's a moth or something flying around. This is probably one of the best looking pre-1972 MCIs that I've ever opened. I did not think that with this moist feeling box, and I just, I didn't expect that it would be much count. So let's take a look. Here's our applesauce. It's a little wet still. I didn't get it dry, but I tried. I mean, this thing legit is not compromised at all. Look at that can seal on the side. That thing is looking good. They rolled that adhesive over it just to make sure it wasn't leaking on the seal. Look at that. Cool. Here's our B3A unit. There was a little crap on it somewhere. Can't remember if it was top or bottom, but look at that. That thing looks absolutely perfect. And when I was looking at this case of 1971s earlier today, not only does the case look really good, the case looks like it's in really decent shape. When I was opening each one, like kind of looking at it, there was two that were in the moist category, this one and another one. They were both on the same end of the box. They were kind of they were across from each other, but the rest of them looked pretty good. Some of them were really rusted out and light, but they looked really good. And this was one of the heavier ones, I would say. But look at that ham sliced, cooked with juices. I mean, is today the day that I get to try some 50-plus-year-old, some 53, 52-year-old ham slices? They just, I don't know, they kind of feel, like I said, a little dry, a little rubbery in there. But this can could not look any better. Seriously. I mean, it's not even a little tiny bit bloated. This thing is, you couldn't ask for anything better. If it was the apocalypse and you were searching around for food and you found this, you might heavily consider eating it, just based on the can alone. The can is legit perfect. Still sucked in. It doesn't have any give to it, like where I can dent it or anything like that. And here is our pineapple jam, which, that must be cocoa beverage powder that I got on it after. Brought it back in here. I don't see a pinhole, except right there. Let's squeeze it. Oh, that's okay. So the pineapple jam that was in here has turned into like a solid mass of crunchy, hard pineapple jam. So the pineapple jam is definitely done. There's no point in opening it because I feel like the value in this can sealed like this is much more than me opening it right now. But let's get the tray up here. I wonder that pan. Clean that can off a little bit. What is going on with that? Look at that. Like excess glue from where they put the top of the can on. I've never seen that like that before. That's weird. There's a little rust spot. Huh. Has this one got it? No. This looks how it's supposed to look. Okay. And the peanut butter. Got some crap on it, but it's looking good. Lots of oil in there. I could hear it. You cannot shake these peanut butter cans up. I mean, maybe if you had a paint shaker and you locked it into a paint shaker, it might. I still don't think that would work, because I have put some real effort into trying to shake these up, and it never, ever works. All right. Let's get the tray up here. All right. There we go. What is it? Hey, what's up, Josh? Mike? Not sure what else he's talking about. What'd you have for supper tonight, Kaylin? Look at that. Yeah, buddy. Flip him over and see his legs. Now, I've wondered if they molt, and that's what we're seeing, or if they're actual. It's at the actual dead carcasses. Ground turkey with brown rice, I guess. Had last Thursday. Ate the last of it tonight. Last Thursday. Today's Tuesday. Yeah. So, some ground turkey and rice. I assume you meant rice, not or rye. Maybe rye bread. But that's spelled with a Y. Right? Or am I wrong? So, man, I almost hate to open that. It's in such good shape. It really is. I'm hesitant. But, you know what? You guys deserve it. We're going to do it tonight. We're going to open up the ham slice and see what's going on with it. P51. Fred. Where's my P38 at? Where's AP38 at? There. Nope. Where's my GG Green? There it is, I'll bet. There it is, my 1957 GG Green. This is a 1942, I believe, or 43. Nope, that's the speaker. Never mind. Maybe that is it. Hang on, let me dig in my pocket. I think that might be it. I carry a World War II one in my pocket. I carry a bunch in my pocket. Double check. Yep, that has to be it. Because it's not freaking dated, which sucks. But the early ones like that weren't. But I do know from the packaging that I took this out of, and this thing used to be like really dark, but it has polished up from me carrying it in my pocket for years now. Yeah. I think that's, yeah. Must be. Bug carcasses everywhere. There's another one. And old bug carcasses. You know, I use this one all the time, but I think I've dulled it. Let me check. Oh, that one's way sharper. Let's see how this brand new one I've got is. Ooh, yeah, let's go with that one. It's super sharp. Wait, let me go get the can opener that doesn't screw the cans up. I think it's broken. Alright, let's try this thing first. Oops. Yeah. Okay, that seems to be working. Feels like it's cutting it anyway. Alright. Use this little thing. Oh, look at that. Huh. Well, there it is. It's got mold on it. That is green. I gotta smell it. Ooh, it smells like a jar of pennies. Ugh. Alright, I'm gonna use this lid. I'm gonna look at it. Maybe. Oh. Oh, man. Look at that. Oh, dude. That is so funky. Will you bring me a fork? A metal fork? Or actually, no, bring me a throwaway one. Because I don't want to really have to clean this off. But I do want to open up. Man, that is a... It looks different in person than it does on camera. So I don't know what that is. Just some sort of funk that is accumulated. Oh, nope. Oh. Alright, let me see if I can get one of these off the top here. Oh, oh man. You know what? I'll bet you this was awesome back in the day. If you'd have got this from anywhere from 1971 to 1976, this exact meal, this one I'm holding in my hand, that would have been awesome. Look at that. Yeah, it's put into a round disc, but that's looking good. It actually doesn't smell bad either. Once you open it up, still having a beer. It smells like pennies and ham. Yep, that's what it smells like. Exactly what you think this would smell like is what it smells like. It doesn't smell rotten. I mean, it doesn't have like an off, weird, weird meat smell. But it does definitely have that penny smell. Look at that. I mean, that looks good enough to eat. I'm seriously half tempted to try it. Especially that part right there. I wonder. Man, that fat, though. That fat looks like a mother of pearl. It's got like a metallic sheen to it. That's just it's different. It's definitely different. I mean, that is just accumulated fat, though. See, if you had to eat this cold, I mean, it wouldn't have looked much different than this back then. If you'd had to eat this cold, this is pretty much what you would have been faced with. And, man, I'm telling you, I really want to... I mean, that does not look... Oh, man, it smells so much like metal, though. It just... Oh, man. It does have a weird, like, sheen to it. Wetness. That, it's probably just the fat. But it's almost unnatural looking. But doesn't that look good? That looks like food. I at least want to kind of get a, feel for... Super metallic. I mean, yeah, I'm not... I do pick up a little bit of the ham taste through that, though. I'm not going to eat that. Yeah, it's not a good idea. I do want to try it, man. It's just... I wouldn't call it appetizing, but I would call it tempting. Oh, man. I wanted to see that one underneath it there. It's like the most preserved part of this would be this right here. Right here, right in the middle. And it's still, look, it's like a lot more pink right here in this middle than anywhere else. And it's very like, it seems like it'd be really easy to eat, though. And there is quite a bit of fat there, so I mean, of course, that's what you'd need. Let me see if this smells any different. Nope. That metal has really just kind of wicked its way all the way to the very middle, because that's the very center of this meat cube round disc of probably death. I mean, let's be honest. If you ate this, you'd probably, if you didn't die, you'd wish you were dead by the time you made it to the hospital. Yeah, I'm going to be smarter than the can of meat and not eat that. But I probably will clean this can up and keep the can, because that is a really good looking main can. See, that's the thing, man. Like a lot of these old MCI mains, the cans, they're all rusted out. Like just like that one over there in that 1980, well 79/80 civilian Sapaco, the main, that Brunswick stew, the can, you can't even read what it was. Like that's what most of, not all, but I would say 85 to 90% of the mains are rusted out and rusted through to the point to where, unless you get a really good case that's been stored well, which I think this might be. I didn't check inside of them. Just going by the way they felt, I feel like I might have more mains that are maybe kind of close to the caliber of what this is, but man, that can is in really, really good shape. I am going to go get that off my hand. I'll be right back. Alright. What's next? Oh. We'll go ahead and move this over here out of the way. What is that? Huh. Looks like a piece of rust or paint or something that came off. Probably, oh man, that was freaking ham. I just went and washed my hands. Dang it. All right, I'm not doing it again. Contaminated or not, doesn't really matter. I mean, you guys can tell me how bad you want to see that applesauce. Because, again, that you don't see cans like that. Coast Counties Cans. No, Coast Counties Can Company, Watsonville, California. Coast Counties Can Company, Watsonville, California. Say that 5 times fast. Coast Counties Can Company, Watsonville, California. Coast Counties Can Company, Watsonville, California. Coast County, yeah. Anyway. All right, let's open this B3A unit. It says crackers and candy. It feels really light, so I don't know, coconut disc or fudge disc or definitely crackers. I mean, that's an obvious, but let's see what we got here. Look at that. Man, these things, this can opener is the bomb. And I just stepped on the lid. Yep, probably bent it. Look at the inside of that can. This hadn't seen daylight, and it's, I mean, legit perfect. Look at that. That hasn't seen daylight since 1971. Neither has the corrugated paper, the crackers, or whatever's underneath it. Let's find out. I mean, it's a little messed up, but it's not a problem. Look at the salt. Holy crap. Look. Look at it filling the holes. God, that's so much salt. I mean, I'll bet you just the crackers in this is probably, I'm going to say 50% of your daily value on salt. And there's going to be, should be 3 crackers in here. Maybe 4. Oh, look at that. Look at that can. I'm impressed. Wow. I mean, there's not even like a bunch of crumbs in there. Like usually it'll be kind of beat up and there'll be a lot of crumbs. All right, here's what was inside. And that, see, even the bottom of that, like usually it'll be like really dark, almost black. And we don't have that going on here. This just looks like normal wax paper contact with the chocolate, which usually that's where you get the super dark spots, which are some sort of discoloration that happens. I'm going to guess because of some of the chemicals or sorbitol or something that is contained inside of these discs. I don't know which one this one is, but we're going to find out. So first off, that is a coconut disc. And we have 4 crackers. Salty. Whoop. Salty number 1. Look at the salt on that one. Number 2. Not nowhere near as salty. Number 3. And nowhere near as salty yet again. Number 4. Now let's take a real good look at this. I mean, even the packaging on it feels Usually these are brittle and they're kind of like ready to fall apart. Not this one. And this thing is loose on the inside. Look. For it to move around like that, that's unusual. Very unusual. I'm really astounded by how good the condition is on this. It really is way better than normal. And since our pineapple jam is no count, let me get rid of this can for now. Oh, it goes over here on this side. I'm pretty sure this can opener won't work on this one. I wish it would. Well, maybe it will. Dang it. Well, it feels like it's working. All right, let's see. It'd be nice if it did. Oh, and it did. Look at the oil. Oh, look at that. And that was with me shaking the absolute crap out of it. But, mark my words, this is the best peanut butter you can buy. It really is. All natural peanut butter. They used to use these like a sterno and light the oil on fire. Sometimes they would take the peanut butter out of it and eat the peanut butter. Sometimes they'd just leave it in. And all you got to do is stick a piece of toilet paper or, you know, whatever you had like that, or a piece of your shoelace down in there, light it on fire, and it would work like a wick, and you would have a way to heat your food up if you needed it. Now, I am going to go get a metal fork, which, I mean, I think I have one right here. No, I do not. I'm going to go get the metal fork. That, I don't know why, it just made me think you guys should go hit Miss Renee up and see how she's doing. This stuff is really hard to mix up without making a huge mess, because obviously that oil, getting it reincorporated back into the peanut butter is not an easy task. It usually takes 2 or 3 minutes of some real effort of mixing. And usually I just use the MCI spoon, but I think a fork, a metal fork, would be a little more efficient at the job. And that peanut butter disc that separates out is super dry. I mean, it's just a dry disc of peanut butter, but it's making my mouth water because I know what's in store for this peanut butter. Like, I know what it is, and I've never had a bad experience with a can of vintage peanut butter. If it's in a can, it always holds up. I can't think of a package of peanut butter that I've ever had that didn't hold up. Now, even though I do think that they went and changed the actual contents, the formula of the peanut butter, probably a few times by now. But the packaging is either what keeps it perfect, or they're still just using all natural peanut butter. We're getting there. I said it's not easy to reincorporate that oil back into the separated out peanut butter. It looks like chunky peanut butter, but it's not. It's getting there though. It's getting mixed back up. This is probably the best I've ever gotten it mixed back up before, so the fork definitely has helped a lot. Not bad. Not bad at all. Got a little bit on my finger. And I'm going to lick the fork. See, they didn't add no sugar to it back then. That is just ground up peanuts. Maybe they added a little bit of salt or something, maybe. But I don't think that they did, really. What's it say on it? It doesn't say. Just judging by the taste. And that peanut butter is 40... What is it? 44 years old? 1979. 44-year-old peanut butter. All right. Well, let's get to eating here. Well, should I make the coffee first? Maybe I should. Let's go ahead and sacrifice a MCI accessory packet. Let's see what we got in here. Long-awaited cut to find out. Now look at this accessory packet after I cleaned it up. It did have crap all over it, but I mean, it looks perfect. Now it's barely sealed at the bottom right here. The way they did that heat seal at the bottom, and then the way it was scrunched in there, it kind of, well, it didn't open it, but it almost opened it at the bottom right there. Alright, I'm going to open it from the back, as usual. Ooh, almost cut that. Whatever it is, the coffee or the creamer or something. Let's see what we got here. May as well take these out first. Hang on, I'm going to stick my nose in there. God, I love that smell. Hang on. It smells a little bit like gum. Oh, man. I could smell that. If they made a cologne like that, I'd probably wear it. I smell the gum. I smell the tobacco, which has like a honey, kind of a honey scent to it. Like a sweet scent. I can smell the coffee. And I smell like some crisp cardboard scent. Ah, this accessory packet. Let's take a look at these first. So those are looking perfect. That is a good looking pack of Marlboros, I must say. Select Fine Tobacco. Back when Marlboros were still Marlboros. There's what I almost cut. The cream substitute dry for coffee or tea. 4 grams net. Prepared by the Nestle Company Incorporated, White Plains, New York. Some Nestle produced cream substitute. And here's our sugar. 6 grams. Made by the American Sugar Company. 120 Wall Street, New York, New York. Here's the star of the show. The Classic Coffee Instant. 2.5 grams net with ascorbic acid. Here's your directions. Manufactured by the United Instant Coffee Corporation, Paterson, New Jersey. That is a perfect thing of coffee. Oh, look at that salt. That's a good looking pack of salt. Lead pack. I guess it'd be Lead Pack Incorporated. Lead pack. Lead or lead? No, it'd be lead. Lead Pack Incorporated. Whoops. Dropped it. There we go. And we got our matches that are going to be made by D.D. Bean & Sons, North Carolina. They're strike on front, red tip, black matches. Well, I'd call them like a like a dark gray, and maybe half dark gray and half black with red tips. Good looking pack of matches, I must say. The back of them is just void of anything except the staple. And then there's your front. It's a good looking pack of matches. What else is in here? Oh, we got our United States issued butt ration or napkin or whatever you want to use it for. That smells absolutely amazing. And last but not least, we've got, look at that box of chiclets. Huh. It's a cool looking box of chiclets. Let me look at this box I got up here. Does it look like that? Huh, no, it does not. Look at that. Different. I mean, 1971. Look at that. It's like a retro packaging or font or something. I don't know. Peppermint. Which the print on the side looks the same. And this side, almost the same. A little thinner print over here, same font. But on this side, though, very different. Very cool. Very cool. Huh. I like that. You don't find a different pack of gum like that very often. Usually they all look just like this. Actually, I don't recall ever finding an all yellow one like I just found. It's quite interesting. That's one for the shelf, one for the collection. And there's the empty pack. It still smells amazing. All right. Time for some coffee. Got my Tim Tam cup over here from Dan, the man from Australia. Been a while since I had one of these cups of coffee instant. It's been a while. Cut that open like so. Well, the blade is definitely getting a little dull. Look at that coffee. Doesn't get any better than that. Look how fine. Spray dried coffee. Look at that. I mean, that coffee looks absolutely perfect. If you had that in a cup and gave it to somebody and told them that it was 52 years old, 52, yeah, they probably wouldn't believe you. And they really wouldn't believe you after they got to try it. Let's take a look at the cream substitute dry non-dairy, because it also feels perfect. Oh, look at that. Look at that. This thing's in really good shape. It really is. I've also got that pound cake and B unit over there we can open up if you guys want. And we got a sugar. Which, I mean, I don't have any doubts about the sugar. It's always good. Unless it got wet. This sugar looks perfect. Creamer's got a little bit of a yellow tint to it, especially compared to the sugar there, you can see. But I think that's probably fine. All right, now I'm going to go heat some water up, because I always forget until after I do other stuff, which I could have been having that water heating up while we were doing the other stuff there. Oh, Miss Marilyn, good night. Thank you for coming. All right, I'll be right back. Sucks I can't just boil water on my stove anymore. I mean, I don't trust the water around here at all, though. I didn't trust it really before, but after the East Palestine, those poor people up there too, man. Like, I've been thinking about going up there, shooting some videos, maybe even starting another channel, like doing that and doing some other on-location stuff, just to see if there's a way that we can help these people that are suffering for reasons they shouldn't be. Mainly because the government that's in there right now thinks that they voted for the wrong candidate, is from what I understand, the way it looks, and from things that have been said. All right, let's open up this coconut disc made by George Ziegler Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So it's made with sugar, coconut, corn syrup, hardened vegetable oil, like alcohol, like Fermented? I don't know what hardened means. Does anybody know what hardened vegetable oil is? I do not know what that means. Invert sugar, non-fat milk solids. We got sorbitol, of course, cocoa, propylene glycol, salt, egg, albumin. Yeah, I guess that's albumin, and or soya whip, lectin, emulsifiers, antioxidant, artificial flavor. Oh, you know what? Wow. Huh. Look at that. This actually smells the most like a coconut disc than any one I've ever smelled before. It smells like coconut, and it smells like chocolate. Look at that. Tell me that doesn't look like a cookie that you'd want to eat. That is pretty awesome. Put the coconut paper up there. All right, I'm going to go get that hot water. I'll be right back. There we go. Look at the head on that. The frothy top on it. It looks like a hot cocoa. Now, maybe I should stir it up. I don't know. What do you guys think? It's got like air bubbles coming out, like it's still a solid mass at the bottom. Surely I got an MCI spoon. Yeah, I do. Right here. Okay. Give it a stir. All right. Now, where to start? Let's start with a cracker. I mean, that seems like the right place to start. And I'm going to go ahead and go with one of the salty ones because why not? Super duper salty. Here we go. Usually, when the crackers are in with a coconut disc, the crackers take on this awful flavor. These have not done that. These taste kind of grainy, very, very salty. Obviously, they're dry and bready, like a cracker should be. I mean, it's honestly just a good, solid, salty cracker. The texture's really nice. They're not hard at all. I mean, they're super fresh. If you were to go to the store and buy a pack of crackers, which you can't buy anything even remotely like this that I know of, this is just like you went to the store and bought them. They're super, super fresh. Impressively so. Which, oh wow, that did mix up pretty well, actually. Get some of that on the fork here. Spread it on the cracker. Look at that. That looks like some gourmet peanut butter and crackers. By today's standards, this is gourmet peanut butter and gourmet crackers. Quality-wise, everything. Even the freshness level of this is outstanding. Let's see how they both taste together. One complements the other so well, which the saltiness of the cracker added to the peanut butter really enhances the flavor of the peanut butter. But the freshness of that cracker, I can't get over it. I've had a lot of MCI crackers. These are probably the freshest texture-wise that I've ever had. They're very good flavor-wise, too. But texture, I mean, they're airy, they're crispy, they're crunchy, they're like really light in their crunch. It's not really what I'm used to when it comes to MCI crackers. These are just on a different freshness level, I guess. Ethan. Ethan. Hey. He's being really loud. I'm sure you guys could hear him. If I gave that to someone and did not tell them, I wouldn't feel bad about it. You know what I mean? Like some things that I eat, I would not give to someone and not tell them that it's super old. Like, eat at your own risk. This I would give to anyone as long as they didn't have a peanut allergy. And they wouldn't know. They just wouldn't know. There's no way. I mean, it is by far the freshest tasting crackers I've ever had, and the peanut butter that goes along with it, I mean, really, really better than it usually does. The only thing I wish I had was some pineapple jelly. Can't see them, but there's bug carcasses right there. Maybe you can see them. I didn't even see them until just now. That's okay. The salt really helps with the thirst-provoking aspect of it, and kind of get your mouth watering to where you can kind of fight through the dryness of it. It's not as dry as some stuff that I've had, some crackers and peanut butter that I've had. And the oil also, I think, from the peanut butter really helps out with the overall dryness of everything. But there's no doubt that you can't beat following it up with a sip of coffee instant. It's not type 1. Not type 2. It's just coffee instant. It's still bubbling up from like the middle. Is it because it's that hot, or I do think oh my gosh, this is really hot. Maybe that's what it is, because I think I put the water in there for too long, really. Usually I boil a whole bottle of water for 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and I just did that 8 ounces for 2 minutes, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to drink this. I just felt the cup, and it is really, 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 really hot. Ow. Yeah, oh. Burnt my tongue. It's good, though. Man, did it burn my tongue. Ow. It didn't blister it, I don't think, but it's really hot. It's too hot to drink right now. Coconut disc. Let's see. Oh, wow. That is not hard at all. Thought that was going to be hard. Honestly, it's pretty light in color. I've seen them lighter, but this one's looking pretty daggone good. And it still smells like coconut. Usually you just get this weird, like, chemical kind of smell from these, from the sorbitol and the chocolate that's went kind of weird. And usually the coconut is just instantly burns your throat, usually. I can see the sugar in that glistening. It'll be interesting to see if this is edible or not. I mean, it does have a little tiny bit of that sorbitol smell, but it's pretty light in comparison to other ones that I've had. All right, here we go. Down the hatch with the coconut disc. That was a big bite. What the heck? Okay, first of all, super soft. As far as other ones that I've had, like it's been hard to bite through them, and they've been mega chewy. Like really hard to chew even. This is very easy to eat. Very soft even, I would say. Like, watch. Barely gonna see it. Look. I mean, I didn't get a whole lot of the coconut texture. I did get a little bit of that crunch in there. You know how, like, when you bite through coconut shavings, I did get a little bit of that. But minimal mouth burn, I would say. This is, I would have to say, probably the best coconut disc I've ever had. I've had other ones that were pretty good, maybe even close to the same level as this, but not this texture, not this soft and easy to eat. They were harder. I do get a little bit of like a alkalinity, you know, like if you touch a 9-volt battery to your tongue, that kind of like weird taste kind of that you get on your tongue if you do that. I'm sure most of you guys have done that, right? It's something I've done. Oh, if you guys don't mind, hit the thumbs up or down. Either way, don't care. But just feedback. Google loves it. Anyway. This is sweet, lightly chewy, very easy to eat. Sugary. I'm kind of getting like like if you just put a spoonful of sugar in your mouth. But it does have a little bit of that. I mean, just a little bit. But it's there. Of that off flavor. But I've had so many of these now. I mean, I've had a lot of these. I've tried at least, let's say, 50 of these coconut discs. And, like, typically, they're inedible. The sorbitol has taken over. They become this weird, like, disc of honestly, like a disc of chemical nastiness. You just don't want anything to do with. Usually it lights your tongue on fire, burns your throat, and it's got a whole lot of just a whole lot of stuff going on. Usually that it's unique. Usually in every experience. The only thing that I really do, it's consistent, is I have that little bit of a burning, like lightly alkalinity burn on my tongue, like I touched a 9-volt to it, but the flavor is not off. It tastes actually like coconut. I've only had a couple that still had a coconut flavor to them, somewhat, but again, those ones were really hard, like they had dried out. Maybe that's why they were still edible. This one, on the other hand, it seems very fresh, especially because it's super soft. I mean, what would I compare that texture to? Like a nougat. Like if you had a Three Musketeers. The inside nougat, the softness of that. This is on the level of that. Maybe just a little bit firmer, but as far as like texture-wise to eat and how it kind of crumbles away, that's how this is. It's incredible. I'm shocked at how good this stuff is. Maybe I didn't have one of those 1971 MCIs. I could have sworn that I took one out. I'm going to go back tonight and go through and watch my old stuff and check, because I know I opened that case on a live stream. Did I not take anything out of it? I could have swore that I did take a ration out of it, but maybe not, because I have been completely surprised by everything that I've had in here. The crackers are, I would say, the freshest ones I've ever had, texture-wise and flavor-wise. That I've not had any that were that fresh texture-wise that I can remember. I mean, I've had some that were close. I've had some real crackers. I've had some really good ones. But usually, when they're in a can with a coconut disc, they're ruined. Usually, they taste like sorbitol and like this weird smell. And if you've never experienced it, it's really hard to explain, other than it reminds you of a very industrial type scent. And if you've never been in an industrial setting, maybe you can relate to the theme park and those smells that you get when you get around the roller coasters, because they heavily grease all the bearings and all the moving parts on those, the chains and stuff that are on those roller coasters. And maybe that smell, it kind of crosses over, but it does have a very heavy industrial type smell to it. And this actually still smells like chocolate and coconut. Has a little bit of that sorbitol smell, but nothing major at all. Like burnt, maybe like burnt oil. It's definitely not a fresh anything smell, even fresh oil. Like when you're first changing your oil, and you got that fresh jug of oil you're dumping in. That is hot. It follows up the coconut disc really well, though. It's so hot. But it's creamy. This coffee's creamy. And it's got that, it does have a what I would call a high acidity level. the old coffee instant type ones and old coffee instant, it definitely seems to be more acidic. Well, it has the ascorbic acid, so I guess that makes sense. Not super high on the tannins, though. The tannins, when it's real high on the tannins, usually you get like this, almost like a drying, weird dry sensation in your mouth. This has it, but it's not really extreme or prevalent. I got a pack of these open right here somewhere. Maybe. Maybe not. Oh, yeah, right there it is. Yeah. It's right here. Right there. I don't know where these ones... I can't remember where these ones came from. These ones are in really good shape. I remember that. Really good shape, actually. Might as well just smoke one of the ones that are open since it's Marlboros. Or maybe I should open them, because they're probably fresher than even these are. Yeah, why not? Why not? May as well. I know I don't have any sealed packs that I can send to anybody. They're all open. All my packs are open. Well, unless they're in a sealed ration. These feel... they're loose in there. But they don't sound dry or anything. Alright, let's see. I seen a study yesterday or the day before. The average American kid, meaning like 12 to 18, let's call it 12 to 17, they spend an average of over 15 hours a week playing video games. Those smell amazing. They smell really, really good. Really nice looking little pull tab. Usually it doesn't look that good. They got that peppermint smell to them. That one's getting turned over. That one's getting smoked. They packed really well too. Look at that.
They do have a almost a sweetness to the scent and the dry hit on them. Try to keep that little piece of plastic on top of them. Keep them as sealed as I can still. I was able to keep it on there. I don't know if it'll help, because right there's where my air is going to get in at. It definitely tastes like the filter. I'm going to turn it around and hit it on the other end. Yeah, it's a lot better. Man, I wish these were non-filters. I've never took the filter off of one of these before. One of the Marlboros. The vintage Marlboros, I've never done it. I've always just smoked them with the filter on, the way they were intended. Some U.S. military matches. Light this thing the way it's supposed to be lit. There's nothing else like taking that first drag off a vintage smoke. There really isn't. It makes me happy. I mean, that's a strong cigarette. It has almost like a pipe tobacco type quality to it. These, again, seem fresher than others that I've had. They have an added flavor, like it's deeper, richer. It's really smooth too, really smooth. Like I feel like I'm not hitting it hard enough, even though after I take that hit, it's really strong. But initially, it's just really smooth. Smith, hey, lucky you. The vintage Pall Malls, man. It's hard to beat them. Man, I hate to say, I think the Pall Malls, when you get in, especially the 5-packs, and those are fatter, they're like, I don't know, in between a Camel Wide and a regular. Those old Pall Malls, man. They might be my favorite. It's been a while since I had one. I'm sure I've got one on the shelf over here somewhere that I could pull out and sample. But it's been a while since I've had a non-filtered Pall Mall. Well, this has got to come with it. Now I can drink it. Wow. I'll tell you what, back in the day, when those guys were in the middle of a situation, I mean, this would have been a good meal. The ham slices looked pretty appetizing. I gotta be honest, like, they did not look bad. I would certainly have eaten that happily, preferably heated up. But even if not, I feel like it probably wouldn't have been awful cold. Yeah, other than the fat, I would have had a problem with the fat. But other than that, I'd have been okay with the flavor. And the cut of the meat looked pretty decent. Then you had your coconut disc, your crackers, and your pineapple jam would have been a nice sweet treat. along with the coconut disc. A lot of sweetness in this. Applesauce, your coconut disc, your pineapple jam on your crackers, and then you had your ham, which your ham would have been probably eaten with the crackers. Probably that's what I'd have done. Carpet glue. That's what the fat looked like. It surely had a mother of pearl sheen to it. Little pieces of coconut in my mouth. Yeah, these two, they go together like peanut butter and jelly. Like a hamburger and a bun. This is some very unique flavored coffee. I can't think of anything that I've had that's modern that tastes like this. And I would really love to be able to recreate this. Because I feel like there's a pretty hefty amount of people that would enjoy this particular flavor. I mean, along with the cream and the sugar. Obviously, that's my thing. But just the coffee on its own. I need to drink some of it black. It's almost like this experience is almost like having a big bowl of ice cream. It's like that satisfying. You understand? I don't know if that makes sense to you guys or not, but that's what came into my mind. Like it's as satisfying as sitting there eating like a bowl of ice cream, whatever your favorite flavor is. And I'm even almost down to the end here. I'm still picking up a little bit of that peppermint. Oh, there's Dan. Couldn't join you today, mate. Stuck working. Wanted to say hi to you and the bandits, though. Well, thank you for stopping in, Dan, and thank you for the super chat, my dude. Much appreciated, man. This one might be worth watching back through. I opened an amazing... It's pretty an amazing ration that we went through here. The only thing I didn't open was the applesauce. The jam was nothing but a hard disc inside. But the applesauce, man, that can's in such good shape. It really is. Outside of the dent on it, but who cares about that? The can itself, it's not rusted. It's not leaking. It's not anything. And I don't think it's going to leak anytime soon because it's not under pressure. And usually the applesauce is like blown out. I mean, you guys have seen me go through plenty of MCIs at this point, and other people go through them. Usually the applesauce is blown out and it's rusted through. I mean, that's not the case here. Yep. I smoked it to nothing. It was smooth to the last hit, too. Hang on, I'll be right back. Okay. It's my luck. I come back and take a sip of coffee and it goes down the wrong hole. Or whatever happens when I say it goes. I mean, that would mean it goes into your lungs, but I don't know. When you think about the human body and how we can automatically take that down versus air, it's kind of crazy that it separates it out like that, if you think about it. that makes me think about something. You guys, pay attention to what you're eating. Look at the labels. Look at the ingredients lists. Look at the chemicals. If you don't know, look it up. I don't understand what's going on. But there's been a lot of changes made recently for the worse. I mean, you can take it as a doomsday warning, whatever you want. Like, look, pay attention to what you're putting in your body. I know we all kind of generally understand that we eat poorly. We do things that we know are wrong. We're eating things we know that we shouldn't be eating. But it's gotten worse. And it's gotten considerably worse. And this is something I've just been paying attention to that as of recent, because I didn't know. I didn't know that they were changing these things so rapidly and without concern for Americans in general. Canadians, not so much. Still, I would suggest that you guys look at them. Probably not this stream, LC. Probably not this stream. This weekend coming, we're going to finish up your box anyway, so we'll focus on it then. But you guys think about that with LC and naming the general back there. But you Canadians up there, it's not as big of a concern. It is a concern, not as big a concern. There are things in American foods right now that are outlawed in most countries, and it's been that way for a while. But there are also foods that are changing. They're adding chemicals to that. Like, the only thing that I can think is there's total disregard for the Americans and humans' health. These things that they're doing, it's not cheaper, so it doesn't make sense in that aspect. They're not using a new chemical or product because it's cheaper. It's just a lot like a lot of these things, man, if consumed enough, are more or less a death sentence. So I highly recommend you pay attention to what you're eating, what you're putting into your body. And this, like, again, this is something I've been paying a lot of attention to just as of recent, and it's changed my whole outlook on things that I eat now. It's a good thing that I'm avoiding these things, but if you're not aware that they're doing this, and you just continue, like, products that as little as a year ago, 12 months ago or less, didn't have these things in them. Now they do. So look this topic up, educate yourself, and if you have any question about it, you know, the internet is vast, and use it to your advantage to avoid these chemicals and these situations that they're putting us in, because it's really, really bad for you. Really bad for you. And if this can help you, then that's great. But like I said, I highly suggest that you start paying more attention to what you're eating, the things that you're putting in your body, because they have total disregard for our health. And that same thing goes for medications too. Like, the medications that they shove at you. Look, I got involved in the healthcare industry. I was forced into it because I had a traumatic injury. And whenever I first was introduced into this, I trusted the people that were taking care of me. And I wanted to be a good patient, right? I mean, you know, I wanted to do what they told me to do because I thought they were telling me to do what they were telling me to do so that I would get better. And yet I didn't get better for years. I'm still not, like, not even close to where I was at before I before the accident happened. And, I mean, I wouldn't even, if I was to put a percentage on it, I might be 60%, 50% of what I was before I got hurt. And I'll be honest, a lot of that is because of the medications they put me on. It damaged my health. Hopefully not beyond repair. But because I didn't want to be a bad patient and argue with these doctors that have all these years of education, that are supposed to know what they're doing and supposed to know what's best for you and do what's best for you. You're supposed to not cause any harm. That's the Hippocratic Oath. They don't follow that. And I say that without an ounce of remorse. I say that because I've been hands-on with many now, and in most cases, I'm not going to say all, but most cases, I think your health is really kind of not even in their realm of what they care about. I think they more, well, I mean, I think they care more about keeping you dependent and in a position to where they make money. So, is that a downside to a capitalist society? Maybe. I think it's just a dirty people, some people that don't have your best interest at heart. There are some out there, but they become more rare every day. I think a lot of that is generational, and depending on how well each generation taught the next is how those kids or those kids are going to be. So we'll see. Where we're headed doesn't look good, but watch your food. Watch your food. Tell me how crazy this sounds. I feel 10 times more comfortable eating this old 52-year-old food than I do going to the grocery store right now and blindly picking out food and eating it. How crazy is that? That should wake some people up, just that statement that I just made. That, and I fully meant every word that I said. I'm way more comfortable eating this than I would be going to the grocery store and blindly picking out food and eating it. I mean, think about that for a second. If you tell someone that you're giving them food that is 1 month past its expiration date or sell-by date or whatever they want to call it, 90 to 95% of those people are going to turn their nose up and throw it away. They're not going to have anything to do with it. Okay. Fair enough. That's just the way we've been taught. We've been taught not to use our senses and not to use our common sense and not to use and to be wasteful. You know, that's just the way we've been taught. But with the things that are coming out in the food now, I didn't think that this would be a conversation that I would have to have. There's always been bad stuff in food ever since they started keeping track of what was actually in the food. I mean, the more time went on, the more that they would find out. Just like that the red dye. Red 40, I think it's Red 40 Lake, or Red 30, whatever it is. The red dye that's in all kinds of stuff. Any of the Cheeto stuff or anything that's dark red in America is going to have that red lake 40, red 40 lake in it. And that causes cancer. Red 40. Okay. Red 40 lake. And yellow 5, I know from personal experience. It's in Mountain Dew. It's in a lot of things, actually, but I know it's in Mountain Dew. Why do I know that? Because whenever I think I was 16, I was working construction with my stepdad, and I came down off the roof. We were up on the roof, and well, you know, we were building a house. It was unoccupied. It was just us construction workers there. There was no functional bathroom, so I walked around the side of the house, walked around back, and went to take a leak, and it dropped me. I was in like horrible, wrenching pain, and had to gather myself, get in my car, and drive myself down the road to the hospital. And I had kidney stones, and they were extremely painful. But the doctor back then told me that it was caused from me drinking Mountain Dew. The yellow 5 in Mountain Dew had caused the kidney stones. So it obviously builds up as calcium in your system where calcium shouldn't be building up. So that hasn't changed. They still do that. It's still there, which I'm sure summertime. I mean, I was still a high school student at that point, so I was working the summer with my stepdad doing construction. And I had just bought my car not long before that. So I was making the payments on my car, and then I ended up having to miss like 2.5 or 3 weeks worth of work because it took me forever to pass that thing. And in the middle of it, I ended up going on a trip to Chicago, and it was this whole thing. And my mom kept my pain medication, so I was just I had to just rough it. It was interesting. But that's not even the type of stuff that I'm talking about. The type of stuff that I'm talking about now is faster acting, is a lot more extreme, and blatant disregard for Americans' health. Humans and Americans, whatever. I mean, I've said this 100 times, but it's the sick care system. They want to keep you to a point to where you need their help, or you think you need their help. And I'm not telling you to be holistic and don't use it. No, I'm not saying any of that. Like antibiotics, and there's medications you need. But I do think a lot of things are overprescribed, and a lot of the chemicals that they're using in food straight up don't need to be there. A lot of it's a preservative base, but a lot of it doesn't make sense at all why it's in there. Why is that chemical in there? I want to know. Tell me why it's in there. Make it make sense to me. Why are you using these chemicals? If it's not for preservatives, for the longevity of the food, if it's not to enhance flavor, which, again, that shouldn't be a thing. When it comes to if it has a negative effect, then it shouldn't be used. So make it make sense. Why are these chemicals in there? Highly recommend you keep a lookout on what you're eating. Things are changing. The whole world's changing. It's pretty embarrassing where we're at right now. As Americans, if you're not embarrassed about the current state of things, then are you paying attention at all? Because I can guarantee you the rest of the world's laughing at us right now. Like, we are the butt of every joke. I don't know how we got here so quickly. It happened fast. But maybe we can recover just as quickly. That's my hope. That's my hope. That's what I have hope for. I have to hold out hope for that. And if that doesn't happen soon, then I don't know. It's legitimate fears. Anyway, pay attention to what you're eating. probably have coming up on $2 million of bills. They would probably write most of it off because I can't pay it. My medical bills were probably a little over that, roughly. I saw a breakdown of them once. I'll tell you guys what I done. I don't know if I ever even talked to you guys about this. So I guess it would have been about January or February of last year, so 2022. From 2016 to 2022, I went to every doctor's appointment. I took every medication, everything. I ended up in the hospital twice with pancreatitis, caused by medication that I was on. I don't care what they say. They said they didn't know why, and I told them the medication. They said, well, that could be why. What else could it have been? I mean, anyway. I had a hole in my leg started off about that big around forever. And it just wouldn't heal. And finally, like, I stopped doing the stuff that they were telling me to do, and I started taking this stuff that I bought to help circulation, called Redwood. I started taking that, and I healed. So last year, like I said, it was January or February, somewhere along in there, I decided that I was going to wipe my hands of all the medical treatment that I had been so faithfully upholding, and I was going to just do my best to try to get myself on track without the medications and everything else that they had me on. Have I had times that I've struggled a little bit? Maybe. I would say, yeah, I have a little bit, especially in the beginning. But I would say right now that I'm at least 10 times better off right now than I was at February of last year. So I was always the type of person that I didn't go to the doctor. I never I never got sick enough to go to the doctor or anything like that after I was injured. Then I ended up with the staph infection and all that crap, like, in my bone. I had a lot of issues that could have all been prevented, especially if that first doctor, my surgeon, had sent me home on antibiotics instead of sending me home on nothing. Because I feel like that would have prevented the staph infection that I got in my bone. And I asked him twice before I left the hospital, right as I was leaving. And I said, hey, Doc, aren't you going to send me home on some antibiotics? And he looked right at me. He said, nope, you don't need them. Hang on. I said, are you sure? He said, yep, I'm sure. You don't need them. Okay. Got in my wheelchair. They wheeled me out. That was it. I was back in the hospital in 2.5 weeks. I was in and out numerous times after that with surgeries, and my leg basically exploded. It ruptured. It swelled up so big that it ruptured. And I feel like that was all preventable. I mean, I know it was. I know it would have been. Like, common sense to tell you that would have been prevented with a simple prescription of medication. And then, to be prescribed crap after crap after crap, yeah, it just didn't make sense. Took me a long time to catch on, really figure out what was going on. I feel stupid. I feel dumb that I let the game continue for so long. Just had your shoulder replaced. See, look, I had a compound fracture, and my bones basically cut through my leg, flipped my leg around all the way 360 degrees, like from pointing this way to pointing this way, all the way around. And I was out in the middle of the river, the Ohio River, nasty. And what went through my leg was a rope that had been in the river, I'm sure. I mean, the rope was probably, who knows, 10, 15, 20 years old, who knows. And we roll those ropes up on the decks of them barges. And geese will poop all over them. They'll lay eggs in them. You know, they'll get, I mean, who knows what, arsenic from the power plants, like, who knows what all. So that's what injured me. And then I laid out there with my exposed bone and everything else out in the middle of the river. I laid out there like 3.5, 4 hours, however long it was. It was a long time. No pain medication, no nothing. So I laid out there a long time, and like, I'm pretty sure I probably picked up some sort of infection out there. Yeah, I don't know where it came from. It could have came from the surgery. I don't know. I don't know where it came from. I just know that I had it, that I got it, and I had it immediately after, more or less. You know, I felt fine for that first. Well, I say I felt fine. I was in a lot of pain, But probably for the first 5 days after I got out of the hospital, I was in there first time like 8 days, maybe something like that, 7, 8 days. I can't remember exactly. But then it was all down. It was all downhill after that. All downhill for years. For years. I didn't get any better from that point. Like, I was in the best shape I had been in since I was in high school when it happened. Thank God, I was in good shape. But from the time I got hurt to about 4 months later, I lost 68 pounds. I didn't even know it. I had no clue because I stopped shaving. My beard got real big. I couldn't tell that I'd lost weight in my face, and I wasn't looking in the mirror. Like, I could barely move. So yeah, it turned into a mess. Like, I mean, I've got a long story about that and everything that led up to it, and I should probably write a book. I don't think anybody would want to read it, but I probably should write one. I have some interesting stories, I feel like. Somebody might want to read them. Well, okay, so I stuck with that first doctor about 5 months when I decided that I needed another, because he was wanting to go in for the fourth, I think it was the fourth major surgery. I think it was the fourth surgery, something like that. And I was like, wait a minute. Before we do this, I want to go talk to some other doctors. So I called around. Nobody wanted to see me. And I found 2 doctors that would see me. And they both would see me within the same week, but it was like a month and a half or 2 months out. So I just had to wait for like a month and a half, 2 months before I could get in to see them to get this second opinion. And I went up to see this one up in Columbus, and he told me basically that he wanted to do the same thing that my original doctor wanted to do. And I was like, it's really not the advice that I'm looking for, obviously. Like, I'm looking for a different opinion, something that differs from his. But okay, his backs it up. And I had the appointment 2 days later with the other doctor, and I was like, all right, if this doctor has the same opinion as the other 2, then he's on track. He's wanting to do what needs done. And let me remind you of this too. The second doctor I went to see didn't put me on a scale, didn't weigh me, didn't do anything. I went and seen him. He didn't do much other than listen to what I told him about the other doctor and then suggest the same thing. Third doctor I went to, I go in to see him. First thing he does is x-ray me, throw me on a scale, realize that I've lost this 68 pounds, and immediately is alarmed because I'd lost so much weight and I was sick. I was way sicker than I ever knew that I was. Lucky it didn't kill me, to be honest, by that time. I mean, because we're talking, it had been months. Well, anyway, he's got a completely different plan. Wants to immediately put me on antibiotics and do an emergency surgery and go in, take the hardware out of my leg, and replace it. And it's the last thing I wanted to do. I didn't want to go through another major surgery like that where they're going in my leg like that. But I was like, I had to be talked into it, more or less, by my family. And it was the best move that I made at that point. But he probably saved my life, because had he not done what he done, when he done it, I might have lasted 2 to 3 more months, and I would have been dead. I would have died, maybe sooner, may have been less time than that, because I was extremely sick. And they put me on vancomycin. They put a PICC line in my arm with a line that runs through your arm up into here, like right up almost into your heart, so that medication basically does go right directly into your heart and pumps throughout your body. And that's the only way that you can really kill infection, when it's inside the bone. Now, this was after he'd done the surgery, and he told me whenever he'd done the surgery and he took that out, that he flushed my bone out, and all kinds of infection came out of my actual bone. I didn't have like outward indications of having a staph infection. It was inside, in my blood and in my bone. So I was in bad shape. And he done that, put me on that vancomycin. I was on it for I want to say it was like, I can't remember how long it was, but I developed an allergic reaction to it, and I broke out in a rash. It was under my hair, it was on the palms of my hands, it was on the bottoms of my feet, and covering my entire body. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, if you ever know, outside of getting poison ivy or oak or something like that, but if you ever break out in a rash, you don't get it on your hands, or typically you don't get it under your hair or on the bottoms of your feet. I had it everywhere. I guess that had something to do with them knowing that I had developed an allergic reaction to it. I don't know if I could take it now, or maybe in a lesser dose, but that stuff, I'm going to tell you right now, that stuff is no joke. It is no joke. And I never took antibiotics or anything like that before. And that's why, like in the very beginning, I even brought this up numerous times. I was like, look, I've never really taken any medications or anything, so an antibiotic would work really well for me. I'd only have to take like a low dose of something for it to work. And he just kept telling me, he's like, you don't need them. You don't have an infection. But I had a really bad one. Anyway, wrecked my health. So, like I said, it's a long story. There's a lot to it. I've never really broke it down and told the whole thing, one side to the other. I didn't want to talk about it for a long time. It's not that I want to talk about it now, but I guess it just kind of came up, and I felt like talking about it right now. First doctor got your chart. The first doctor just agreed with the first doctor. The third doctor was like, no, something isn't right. Yeah, basically that's what happened. Wow, I just brain farted real quick. Dr. Reed, Dr. Jason Reed, Athens, my doctor I got to know him pretty well, like really well. I mean, there's also an infectious disease specialist up there that I seen, wound specialist, a wound specialist that I seen up there that I had debridements done once a week for about probably like 62 weeks in a row, roughly. It was over a year. So I got to know those people really well too. I feel like their hearts were in the right place, and Dr. Reed, I do feel like he's a decent doctor. Done me right. What I've come to find out is some doctors do some people right, or they feel like they done them right, and some doctors screw people. So, just definitely do better than I did. My skepticism of doctors should have been much higher than it was. I shouldn't have just put my trust into them like I did. And I definitely have paid a price for it. But all right, I got to clean up a bunch of stuff over here. I'll keep these out, and we'll check them out maybe next live stream with LC's MRE with the Frankfurters. I will have some hot dog buns ready for that, for sure. And I have seriously been thinking about getting with a coffee company and trying to recreate this vintage coffee. I mean, it would be awesome if I could get, if the original manufacturers were still around. Which, I mean, I know Coca-Cola did it. A subsidiary of Coca-Cola did it. I think I got one up here. Yeah, right here. Here's a Coffee Instant Type 2. By Tenco, a division of the Coca-Cola company. So, I know that they can do it. But if I could get somebody to do that, I think I could do well with creating my own coffee brand. I'm not sure what I'd call it yet, but I've definitely been thinking about different names that I could call it. Because I don't think calling it Coffee Instant Type 1 or Coffee Instant or Coffee Instant Type 2 would be the ideal name for it. I do think that branding it with my own branding would be the way to go. And some really cool design packaging would be the best way to go. But it's just a thought. I haven't acted on it yet, but I think I should. So, anyway, I'm going to get cleaned up here, guys. Let me flip the camera around and say goodbye to everybody. Thanks to Dan for sending that super chat in earlier. Think about a name for the Army General, G.I. Joe Army General back there. I think we probably are pretty close on that with using my grandpa's name and maybe even sliding my deceased puppy's name in there. If you hadn't gone in that one, yeah, I would have ended up in the hospital by that evening. Oh, I got an interesting story about being called in for an emergency surgery with that first horrible doctor that I saw. I'll tell it to you. I'll make it quick. So after my leg ruptured and my leg turned black, I called him and told him what was going on. Like it's bad. And they were like, well, just come in. And I'm like, look, man, that trip is really hard on me. And I was like, I don't want to just come in for you to look at it. I was like, can I just send you pictures? And the nurse was like, hang on, let me get a number for you to send the pictures to. And I was like, all right. So I sent them the pictures. They called me immediately. And they were like, forget trying to come in today. We're just going to schedule you for an emergency surgery on Wednesday morning. She's like, don't eat or drink anything Tuesday night after midnight. Be here at 7 o'clock. I was supposed to be taken in at 7 o'clock, so I need to be there at like 6:30. She said, but be here and ready 7 o'clock will be your intake. Okay. I show up at the hospital Wednesday morning, 7 o'clock. And by this time, I was already wise to these idiots. I was recording every phone call because it was already a crap show. I get there Wednesday morning, and my mom's there. My old lady drove me there, and it's a whole thing because every little bump like hurt. Anyway, get in there, get to the desk where the surgery area where you check in or whatever. And I'm like, hey, I'm here for an emergency surgery this morning. You know, they scheduled it Sunday. I think it was Sunday evening. And she goes through the charts and stuff. She's like, you're not on here. You're not on the schedule. And I was like, what do you mean I'm not on the schedule? Like, hang on a second, lady. She specifically said to be here this morning for intake at 7 o'clock to be, you know, to be here and ready, not to eat after midnight. She's like, I don't know what that could have been. I was like, hang on a second. I pulled my phone out, found the conversation, hit play, and I let it play. And she's like, let me go ask and see what I can do. Had I not had that recording, I would have been sent home that day. I guarantee it. So she comes back out. And she's like, we'll pencil you in. We'll get you in as soon as we can. And that was at, I'd say it was probably like 7:30, 8 o'clock when she came out and told me that. I didn't get into surgery until basically the next morning at like, I think it was like 1 or 2 a.m. So, I mean, I did go without eating or drinking anything for that 24 hours, which for some reason was killing me at that point. Like, because I wasn't allowed to, maybe. I don't really know. But, ooh, man. I was in really, really bad shape at that point, and really they didn't help me much, but I definitely needed something done. Definitely needed that surgery, or needed way more than that. Okay. I did get, I don't know what I've done with it. I set it way down there. Devil Mountain, that beer. It gave me a little bit of a buzz. All right, guys. Going to check out shooting for Saturday unless something happens. Something changes, which, I mean, my days aren't extremely planned or anything. Something could come up or something, who knows. I don't plan on that happening. I don't foresee anything happening that I know of. But, wait, when's Mother's Day? That's not this coming weekend, is it? When is that? It's got to be coming up soon. Wait a second, it is, isn't it? Oh, man. It's Saturday, ain't it? Today's Tuesday. Wednesday, the 11th. Thursday, the 12th. Friday, the 13th. Oh, Friday, the 13th, too? We got a Friday, the 13th, and then Mother's Day is Saturday, the 14th. Okay, I might not be able to do it this Saturday. I'll let you guys know Friday, though, for sure. And I won't do a makeup of... I mean, I might do one on Monday or Tuesday or something like that, but it won't be, I won't use LC's ration for that. Are you sure it's not Saturday? Because it seems like... wait, it's after midnight. Okay, yeah. So it would be Sunday. It's 12:05 here now. So when I check the date, it says the 10th. That's what I was going off of on the top of my clock right there. But that's Wednesday, not Tuesday. All right. Well, I guess all I got left to do now is not say this yet. Thanks to all my patrons. Thank you guys. Thanks to Dan for the super chat tonight. Thanks to everybody that showed up. Thanks for the thumbs up or down. Either way, I don't care. I like it when you hit the thumbs down. Leave me some constructive criticism, how to improve the live streams in a comment or whatever. I will see it. I don't respond to a lot of them anymore because I don't get very many of them. And the ones that I do, sometimes, depending on what it is, I'll respond. It just depends. But guys, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on such a weird, kind of an odd day. It's not Saturday, as it usually is. Also, wait, so I was right? So it is Saturday then. Oh, wait, no. 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 Right there, look. Sunday, May 14th, 2023. So yeah, it is Sunday. I don't know why I didn't notice that it said Sunday before. I don't know. Anyway, I was trying to figure it up myself, and I got it wrong because it was 12:05, and I figured it on the 10th. Anyway, all right, guys. All I got left to do now is say thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all on the next live stream. Later.